Hey there, Chef Jill back. I am today going to show you how to shape artisan baguettes. So I've already mixed it. You can see it's a bit of a softer dough as it starts to slide on me. I've mixed it, kneaded it, fermented it, and now I've portioned everything and we're ready to go to the shaping part. All of that other stuff is kind of the same thing for every single bread. You will see some videos where I do start to finish, but that becomes a really long process for everybody, myself and yourself. So these ones, the first baguettes that I made last week, I used an old dough, so it was make up your baguette dough the night before, leave it in the fridge, use part of that as your dough, but you remake a whole new dough for your baguettes. But it's an old dough, so there's more flavor has been developed. This one, I used a Polish, or I kind of cheated. I already had a sourdough starter going. This was fed last night. You can see all the yummy bubbles in there. So I actually used 2 containers this size to make my 7 baguettes today. That one's going to be kept alive until Friday of this week. I'm doing my next thing of sourdough. So back to task at hand, baguettes. You want nice and tight. You're gonna pull, doing this motion here, pull it over, seal it down. Now I've got rice flour down here because this dough is super sticky. I'm gonna pull my ends in just to keep the whole thing nice and neat. When I finish, you can see now I've got every single side has been folded over nicely. Now, best angle. I'll show you this way first and then I'll try to adjust it. I'm using my thumbs, pressing down where I made my first seam. Pull up from here. You can see there, it's nice and smooth. Push down. We don't want to flatten this because then you're going to get rid of, there's all sorts of really amazing holes that will be created by all the bubbles that the yeast has made in here. So, little idea, I'm going to try to do this backwards. Pretend that these 2 fingers, how do I do this? These 2 fingers are my thumbs instead. Pull it over like this, get your thumb out of there, seal it down. If I start getting this kind of thing opening up, it's easy, just pull it back in. Keep those ends nice and smooth. Again, you know what, I'm still gonna be able to get at least one more fold over like that. That gives me a really nice tight surface on the top. Tighten that up a bit. Turn it this way so I can do it properly. For this, I use my thumbs and I'm pressing down on the upper edge of the seam and I push the dough forward at the same time. So the motion, I start up at the top, pull it down to the countertop, push, and that is going to tighten up my seam here. You can barely even see that it's there anymore. That's called the key, the seam is. That is. So do that a couple of times. Now I've got a nice, tight baguette started here. I'm going to use the side of my hand, roll till I get a little nubbin, then I'm going to tuck under. It's all about keeping everything looking really nice and professional. Now, obviously not long enough for a baguette, right? That's like not even 8 inches. So with firm pressure, but not too firm, you can see I'm going to start in the middle, get a little bit of a divot. Now I bring in both hands and I'm pushing down and stretching out at the same time. Push down, stretch out. This is where you want less of the flour so that you have a little bit of contact with the counter. And this whole time too, I'm continuing to tighten my key because, that is the key. You need to remember where the bottom of your loaf is, the bottom of your baguette, sorry, so that when you go to place it on your pans, that bottom, that key, that seam stays down, because if it were to stay up or on the side, guess what? As soon as you start to bake this and all of those beautiful gases inside want to come out, the gas looks for the easiest way out. Well, this seam is very easy. It's just going to split you open like this. Another reason we do the scoring on the top is so that we give the gas a space to escape from, but we, the bakers, are in control. So this guy's fighting me a bit, right? Pull it out like this, and it shrinks back. So my gluten's a little bit tight, to be expected. that happens. So I'm gonna let it rest for a minute or two while I go on to my next one. Shape it into a bit of a rectangle, and I'm going to pull, tuck it over. Pull, tuck it over. Grab my ends. Okay? Pull, tuck. Pull, tuck. So you can go through all of the different folds if you're not sure that you'll be able to get that really nice, firm, tight roll. Or if you're confident with yourself, just start going for it. Now, I've got a fun task of, you don't want to rip. I'm starting to rip a little bit. I need to let this guy set for a bit. It's going to sit off to the side here. Well, you can see that. All right, sitting there. Go on to my next one. Now, all they really need to do is sit for about 5 minutes. So you can shape a couple in that time and then go back to your first one. The gluten will have relaxed a bit. That is getting very, very soft. Or very, very sticky, rather. So you get a couple shaped. My, oh my, this is a sticky one. There we go. Right? Getting it nice and tightly shaped. I thought I heard a neighbor outside. There we go. So I've got it about a large dinner roll size. I'm going to put that to the side for now. Go back to my first one. Not a beautiful shape yet, right? But now, give my edges a nice, you can see, nice little point to them. But the gluten has relaxed nicely, and I can stretch it out more. First learned how to make this kind of a baguette in Cobb's. Dare I say that? Yes, I used to work there for less than a year. Can't remember exactly. But anyways, we would make sort of the fancy baguettes. We made the big baguettes, and we made some of the fancier baguettes, kind of like this, where you want to keep it nice and airy inside. I'm going to take this guy. Normally, I would put it on what's called a couche, or a sheet of canvas. You let them proof there. This is the traditional way, and then you'd roll it onto or into your oven. Now, right now, I'm still getting used to a new oven. Well, new to me, not very new. We moved recently, and so I'm still getting used to this oven. It has a really cool feature where there is a small oven and then a much larger oven underneath it, which is great for baguettes, not so good for French bread. Don't try to bake, if you've got an oven like that, do not try to bake a loaf of French bread in the upper oven. It will hit the top and set off your smoke detector very effectively, unless you need to check your smoke detector. Anyways, I digress. This guy's giving me a wee bit of trouble here because he's quite sticky. You can see my key was up at the top there. Give it another little bit. There we go. Want it nice and tight. And I'm putting mine right onto the pan. Shh, don't tell anybody. These ones are going to take a little bit of practice with the shaping, getting used to a different dough, but you can see putting them on cornmeal on top of my sheet tray. Well, sheet tray. That's what we would normally call it, but here it's a cookie sheet. Normally I'd be working with something about 4 times the size of that. Makes it a little bit easier to try to set out as many baguettes as you need on there. This is going to be a bit of a tight fit to get all 7 in there. I might even put one of them in the fridge. It'll be for my family. I've got one extra dough actually anyways, and keep that one for myself. So then it's just practice. So I'm gonna have to practice these ones a bit as well, make sure that I get the idea of how this dough works. But you couldn't see much there, but as you can see, already getting better. Just keep working on it. Anyways, till next time.